Paint over it, paint black, white. Paint over white.
Good morning, everyone. I did get emails last night from some folks that want help, so we are gonna collectively learn looking at other people's work today. Let's see here. And I did get a chance to more thoroughly consider IBM SPSS. I know that's a lot of acronyms right there. Does anybody know what IBM stands for? I was hoping you could enlighten me because I don't know. It's been around a while. I imagine the B is business. Okay, well, I'm already locked in as host, so that's good news. I don't have to mess with that today. Okay, well, let us get started.
Was it camera day? That's what I was just saying. That's actually crazy.
All right, so Sam and Jaden, y'all have been talking to me, or at least emailing me.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so y'all have some questions, and I have some questions for you. And it's all good. All right, this is experimental. So kind of going back in before we get started with Sam and Jaden's group there. Again, there are resources for data coding up here. And given what we're experiencing in SPSS, I would like for you to try to do as much as you can in Excel. There's some class recordings that I shared. There's stuff under PowerPoints as well. So these three links are useful for where we are right now. This is what I discovered with SPSS. Let's cover that first too. So if you type in SPSS for students in a Google search, there are a few things that come up. Last classroom, I was trying to get us to have the 30-day free version, which has been discontinued over the past 8 months or so since we last had this class. Now they only give 14 days. So here are my thoughts on that, since I had a chance to think about it over the weekend. This is going to be up to you. And what I mean by that is you are going to have the option as a student to try to make it through in 2 weeks. I'll try to give you as much info as I can so you can run your stats, do your graphs, get the information that you need. It will be, you'll need to make sure, like, if you're going out of town or going on like you have like 2 or 3 athletic events during that time frame, you probably don't want to open up that 14-day window. In the past, we had a whole month, and people could kind of work more at their own pace. You will, regardless of when you open up, you'll want to make sure that you have like things set in order that you want to get accomplished. It is a very robust program. So you could take a whole semester long course on SPSS, and I would argue you wouldn't get to everything in there because it's all stats. So you can take, I mean, as a PhD student, you can take probably 3 different stats class, depending on what you are interested in with statistics. There are a lot of stats out there. That is not what you're in for, nor what you want to get, I'm assuming, as a bachelor's in psychology major. So, again, I'm interested in if you can at least get the nuts and bolts and see what the processes are. That way you're familiar with it if you go on to bigger and better things. I don't want to shortchange you as students. So what you'll get with the SPSS is you'll have that free 2-week window. You'll also have instructional videos from me. So a professor I had at my graduate school creates these, like that's his thing. He makes them for a living, and they're good and they're valid. And so he's really dry, but it's to the point. It's, you can rewind the YouTube videos, go back to where, hey, I don't remember. I remember seeing that. So what I would recommend is if you're doing your SPSS stats, make sure you have a computer where you have at least 2 screens where you can have your data up on one screen and have like the YouTube tutorial going on the other. If you don't have that, if you don't have that capability, your stats are going to be tough. They just are, unless you just have very simple statistics. So those are some tidbits. The other options, okay, so that will get you through. The other, and you'll have to just grind out in 2 weeks to get things done, and then also produce your graphs on the back side of it. You know, you might type in, hey, this would be a good thing to use AI for. So AI, I just ran a multiple regression. What are some good visual graphs and tables to show? Again, knowing that prompt when I'm writing a paper, and it'll give you some ideas, and it'll say, okay, then you can type in, well, show me how I can make those in SPSS, and hopefully you'll get there. So again, you all have technology at your fingertips, and don't have it create stuff for you, but show you how to get there. Okay. Here are, so like it says, buy IBM from vendor. So I did some research. If you want to keep it for more than 2 weeks, these are valid vendors because they're on the, you know, IBM. It's not like you're going out to some scammer is not going to give you what you're looking for. So here are the licensed vendors from IBM. I looked at these 2 student discounts, and I also looked at Hearn Software. I don't have a preference. The lowest price I could find was $34.99 for 6 months. And so like if you clicked on the student discounts here, purchase, this is what comes up. And it says, you know, the base pack is $34.99. He gives you base statistics. If you have a lot of variables, if you have like I'm thinking of maybe John on this, like the advanced statistics regression, with as many variables as you're comparing, if you're comparing like 3 or 4 more variables, it might be good to have this for $15 more, the $49 pack. So that gives you more.
Yeah. I don't mind at all. In fact, I probably will anyways, because I do love statistics, and I'm looking forward to the process. So yeah, I'll probably dive into that. Yeah.
Well, it's not the $100 that showed up last time. It's a little cheaper. I still hate. I know you all are already paying fees and tuition, and I hate. This was not my intention. So what I will say is, I learned from you. And now in my syllabus going forward, it's gonna be, you're gonna need at least 3495, because the 2 weeks is I just foresee it's gonna be tough, because what happens is you run your stats, you kind of wait for there are a lot of projects, so you wait for feedback from me, and then we're sitting on 11, 12 days, and you're last minute trying to run your graphs and charts, or trying to fix things, like maybe you made a mistake in your stats. And that's where the month gave us time to go back and forth. It's gonna be up to you, gang. And I will say this, if you make a mistake in your stats, you're like, I'll take it on me. Here, if you can put it in your discussion. So in your discussion, to give you kind of a feel of where you're going after you run your stats, in your and this will be part of the class too. I just want to make it part of, I hate just talking and not giving you a visual to go along with it. In your discussion section, this will be one of your major sections. So you'll, think if you're putting this in context, think abstract, think lit review, think methods, think results, discussion, your references, your appendices. So I'm trying to put this all. So here's, your whole paper right here. So in your discussion section, you're gonna have things like, obviously a discussion of the results. You'll present your stats here and the results here, you'll discuss them. So in that discussion, like, what are the implications? I usually start with limitations. So this is where I was going with this, is if you did see, the researcher encountered an error in the statistical procedure, therefore results are not valid. You don't want to say that, but again, if you're honest, if you're like transparent in research, that's where I'm taking it on the chin. I don't want to have you say that, but if you don't have the 3495 or whatever to pay for the extra few months, most times you're talking about limitations. The researcher was only able to use a convenient sample, or or a snowball sample if you're using social media. In these situations, data cannot be generalizable to the larger population or larger populations. So again, you're looking at practical limitations of research. It's not just that. That's just what's on the top of my head. Implications. So if you're looking ahead, this is what your discussion section is. It's a really quick discussion or summary of the results. You're talking about limitations, you're talking about implications, you're talking about ideas for future research. And you could probably close with a summary, another brief summary. So that's your discussion section in a nutshell. So you got a peek ahead at least.
Dr. Randolph,
Yeah, go ahead.
would you just briefly kind of touch on what you would like to see within that implications section?
Oh yeah, sure. So implications would be things like what was learned from the research, how might this impact the discipline? How does this inform knowledge in this content area? How can this information be applied? So, yeah, the implications to me are the fun part. The implication is like, hey, this is why my research matters. This is why it's a big deal. It's a pretty big deal, you know. So, this is where you kind of get to talk yourself up, because nobody else knows what you found. You're the only one that will know, like, if you found something really cool. Some researchers actually, because they find things that are super controversial and they're afraid that society or there'll be like reproach and people will be angry, and like some people actually publish their research posthumously, which means after they die, like they have a thing like, can you publish this, because they're so afraid of what the findings are. I mean, imagine that you're sitting on like this information that you're so scared of that you're afraid of what might become of you. Because science can be threatening. I mean, if you find like the common, I'll give you an example of that. Albert Bandura challenged the notion that, because there was a notion in society in like the 30s and 40s that humans just had this internal rage that they just needed to vent out. So like you all have heard that and we still, I'd say, have that to a degree. Y'all have heard like that expression, just go punch a pillow or whatever like that. And like that's why, it's also an explanation for why people would want to go and watch these violent sports, think MMA now, but even think about like boxing and stuff back then. Like humanity just had this internal rage we just need to get out. Bandura challenged that and actually found that is not correct. And the way that he challenged that is that he did the Bobo doll experiment where he had children watch an adult, and an adult like would just, in one situation in the experiment, an adult would just kind of play with the Bobo doll and be pretty passive and happy. And then another experiment, so that would be like the control group. And then the experimental group is like the adult is banging the shit out of the Bobo doll, right? And whacking, and you guys have seen these old videos, maybe even taking a gun and hitting it. So what Bandura found is that we learn vicariously, that the more we're exposed to this, that the more that, especially as children, the more impressionable we are, the more likely we are to then act this out. We aren't just some innately violent species. It's like we are really, so think, the vicarious learning. Now Bandura didn't, he published his work and went on to be pretty influential in especially in adolescent psychology, learning, because especially in adolescence, we learn a lot from the peers that we're around. Another example that it comes from, my seminary training is an individual that made some discoveries about the way the early Bible was written, and was so scared of what would happen to them if they published their work. They published it after they died. So anyway, I'll leave that's for another time. So anyway, yeah, go ahead.
Along that same, I'm so sorry, I don't mean to drag this out. To kind of expound on what you were just saying, within my research, I'm working with a population that it's very easy to demonize. However, you told an amazing story, probably the first day of class, about some of the preconceived notions you had when you went to be a counselor at a juvenile behavioral health facility, and the amount of trauma that had been endured by that population. Well, as you know, a lot of those afflicted individuals age out of the juvenile population and they end up in facilities like this. So for me, what's very important is being compassionate and empathic within my results. However, that's not actually a part of my study. And I don't know if that would be going, because I know we need to keep this scientific. So I don't want to throw in a whole bunch of confounding variables that weren't a part of my study, but yet I want the readers to be cognizant of all of the trauma that this population has been through. How would I do that?
So you could, a couple of things, you could include that in your ideas for future research. Another thing is, if you wanted to touch on that, you could touch it on limitations. Another limitation, you know, for instance, this would be like I don't exactly know where you're going, but it might be an idea for you. Another limitation of this study is that the researcher was unable to account for the impact of childhood trauma. And then on behaviors. And then so you could tie that in under your limitations here. So again, these will be subheadings. So that, like, let me make these bold so you kind of know how to follow. So these will all be subheadings in your you'll need at least 3 subheadings in your discussion. And so then you can go into more detail about that in ideas for future research. So then you kind of link that idea. And I would say that when you all are talking about your limitations, if you could go back and do it over again, what would you do different? That might be something that you reflect on in your ideas for future research. That makes sense? Hopefully. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Good questions. Okay. Let's jump in and help some folks today. I just wanted to again show you that there are options out there. It's not, I mean, it's modestly expensive. I mean, it's not cheap, but it's not $100 either. So again, it's up to you. All right, let's jump in and help some folks today. You all shared, you all were able to share your form with me. So let me see if I can locate that. And that is, which one did you share? Oh, maybe I need to click on my, hold on. I need to click on my Gmail. I saw it come through. I know it's there. Just let me see if I can find it quickly. Okay, here it is. Okay, so their experiment is how music affects stress levels in college students. Oh yeah, this is the true experiment. Awesome. All right, I'm excited to see this one. So if you didn't take this one, their design, so just for context for everybody, their design was you go in, you take this survey, you answer questions about stress, then you click on a link and it takes you to a musical piece. So it's like it's a piano piece, correct?
Yes, it's an instrument.
And it's not super long. It's just an instrumental. It's not vocals. It's a piano piece. I had never heard it. I thought it was pretty cool. When I listened to it, it was chill to me. And then you rate your mood afterwards. So it had a pre and post, right? Didn't you? Did people rate their mood before and after?
Yeah.
Well, okay, let's look at it. All right. So there were the settings, here are the responses. Let's view this in Sheets. So what came up? I'm going to request to be a viewer. Actually, let me be an editor. I'm going to request access to your Google Sheet. So I just sent that to you.
Okay. You should have access.
Okay. Hey, there we go. Okay, so this is what you all want to work on. So you sent me a spreadsheet that I wasn't sure exactly what it was, but this is what you all want to work on right here. This response is OG. Have you all made any changes to this?
We did it,
And that's the Excel spreadsheet you sent to me.
yeah,
Perfect. Y'all are listening. So what they did is this is their original thing. They sent me a, let me get in my university email now. All right, let's see here. That's all my, here it is. Bingo. Okay, so this is where I got a little confused. Maybe, oh, I see what the issue is. Your questions are all super long, okay. But it's still, okay. Oh, okay, now I get it. All right, so I wasn't all the way to the end. I didn't understand. Okay, sorry. My own fault. Okay, so now I'm looking at their spreadsheet, which you all will have. It has the time and date when people took the survey. Yeah, it has their confirmation, it has all this stuff. All right, so y'all have not coded yet.
we kind of did a little bit on some of them. We just have a couple questions on some of the coding things.
You had some questions on coding.
Yeah,
Well, I'm the dude to ask.
okay, well, question 9 is a reverse coded question. So 4 is our higher stress answer. And the question is, in the last month, how often have you felt that you were on top of things? So if they answered 4, that would be, if 4 is very often, so that would be our higher stress, but if they answered it, it would be 1 would be. Like if it's reverse coded, so I was wondering, do we go in there and do we change all of the answers, like, or we add a column and put like 0 is 4, 1 is 3, 2 is 2?
Okay, so to kind of give us an idea of where their questions are. So question 8 was, in the last month, how often have you felt nervous? Okay, fair enough. All right. Question 9, in the last month, how often have you felt you're on top of things? Okay. Question 10, the past month, how often have you become, okay, so yeah, so here you can see a higher score here. So again, we had 2 sessions ago, our reverse coded idea. Now we actually have it in practice. So if you're looking at in the last month, how often have you felt nervous or stressed? A high score here is obviously going to indicate higher stress. However, when you go to question 9, in the past month, how often have you felt you're on top of things? A high score there would indicate low stress. So see where that makes some dissonance for us? It's like nails on chalkboard. That doesn't make sense, right? So we need to reverse. So let me ask you, here's my $64,000 question for you. On this scale that you're using, overall, the authors, when they put it out there, does a high score indicate higher stress levels?
I believe so. I was looking at it yesterday. It's the self-perceived stress scale.
Okay. So again, you just want to be consistent with it, even if you make like, okay, well, I thought that low numbers meant that their life was crappy, so it indicated. So as long as you're consistent with indicating your reverse questions and reversing them, you're okay. In this case, what I'm going to argue strongly for with you all, to make it simple, is that a high score indicates higher stress. So if I'm going through this with you, number 8, reverse code or not?
No.
No, leave it alone. Question 8, a high score indicates high stress. Question 9, in the last month, how often have you felt you're on top of things? Reverse code, yes or no?
Yeah.
Yes, reverse code, right? So, okay, let's go to number 10. In the past month, how often have you found you become overwhelmed? Reverse code?
No.
No, because again, a high score indicates higher stress. Okay, so that's only 3, right? Is there only 3?
There's some after those.
There's some after that? Okay. So how often, so this one we want to leave it alone. How often do you listen to classical music? Leave that one alone. You play a musical instrument, leave it alone. Rate you're interested in classical music, leave it alone. Okay, so now here's another one. wait a minute. Oh, is this before or after they listen to the music?
Before.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So yeah, leave it alone. How overwhelmed do you feel by difficulties? Yeah, all right. I kind of wish that was not a time, because you're asking really a feeling more than a time question. That's, again, that happens. Currently, how stressed do you feel? Yeah, and here a high score indicates higher stress. So far, the only one I'm seeing is question what?
Should be 9.
Question 9. Yeah, okay. And then, so we keep going, and then you listen to this piece. Here, I'll play it for everybody. It doesn't take very long. All right. You all are now part of the experimental group. How y'all feeling? Probably more chilled than listen to my voice, right? So, it was pretty cool. Research consistently shows that classical music lowers respiration, lowers heart rate, pulse rate, lowers blood pressure. So y'all are standing on good research, solid research when you played that. So we'll see if they get a significant result. All right, so then you have to click the box to confirm that you listen to the entirety. All right, so you got ratings of how they enjoyed it, how did it affect your mood, and then 21, how stressed do you feel? And again, low scores would indicate low stress, high scores would indicate higher stress. So yeah, y'all were right. The only question you would recode. And have you done that?
Yes and no.
No? Sorry, help me out with that. Yes and no.
I was wondering if when we're reverse coding that, do I add a column like you did in the video right next to it? And because you didn't show example of reverse coding in the video.
Oh,
I wasn't sure if I changed like the answers, like if I change them to 3 in that direct column, like if the answer is 3, if I change it back to 1, or if I add a column right next to it and I do that right next to it and keep the original next to it.
it's right next to it. So is question 9, is that where we're at here?
Yeah, question 9.
Okay, so I'm sorry this is not very legible. I don't know how to change the color settings. I can make the screen bigger though. So here's question 9, their label. And that does correlate with how often have you felt you're on top of things. So to make this a reverse code and hopefully when I make changes, it'll save for you all. Hopefully this is a working copy. So I'm gonna go ahead and right click. And I'm gonna insert a column to the left. No, insert one column right, sorry. So now I have a question to the right of question 9. And I'm gonna call this reverse coded 9. Q9. So I know what it is. And in fact, I'm going to take out my spaces because when you put this over in SPSS, they don't like spaces. Reverse coded Q9. And now we're going to go use some AI. And I'll just use Gemini. Please create a reverse code command for Excel to in reverse code the following numbers. So what are we wanting it to do here, ladies?
So 0 would equal 4, 1 would equal 3, and 2 is just 2.
Okay. So if we're looking, so again, if you're like, how do I do that, Randolph? Go back to the actual question. There's question 9. There's 5 responses. So what we want to do is make 4 equal 0, 3 equal 1, 2 equal 2, 1 equal 3, 0 equal 4. So let's see what that looks like in practice. Please create a reverse code command for Excel to reverse code the following numbers. 0 to 4, 1, 2, 3. We won't need, I'll say, we won't need anything 2. You don't want it to do anything with 2s because it's right in the middle. 3, 2, 1, and 4 to 0. Let's see what it does. Let's see if it is able to track with me. This formula assumes your original number is cell A1. Okay, perfect. Original number, yeah. Wait. Oh, I see what it's doing. It's just giving us a subtraction. And so 2 will always remain 2. Okay. No. Gemini. Please give me a command code to switch to copy and paste into cells. Let's see if it'll list. Okay, I understand its logic. Nope. All right, so in that case, I'm going back to my class because y'all inherited a class from someone else. I'm going into my resources for data coding. And there's switch. There's that switch code. But it's not there, is it? Thank you for your question. Now I get why you're asking the question. Let's see if ChatGPT is any friendlier and just gives me, like, here's what it wants us to do. It wants us to put equals 4 minus A1. Which gets confusing, right? I'm going to try to copy that. I'm going to press Control C. I'm going to go into your sheet. All right. And this is your Google sheet, so I don't want to mess with it. Or is this? Yeah, this is Excel. Is it Excel? This is your Google sheet. Let me get out of this. Did I exit out? Oh, here it is. Okay, I'm gonna paste that in. Oh my gosh, just allow me. Okay. So what it's telling, what this code is telling this cell right here is it's telling I'm gonna subtract whatever A1 is from 4. So if I take 4 minus 3, that'll be 1. I know, it's math, guys. Hang with me. All right, but I don't want A1. What's this column right next to it? How should I code this, gang? Oh my gosh, you were tracking with me. Thank you so much. I know. Oh my gosh. L, yes. It's an L because I'm actually only referencing this column right next to it, which is why it's important to just do stuff real close to each other in Excel. All right, so let's go ahead and hit enter.
Could you put 2 since it's in 2, not 1?
Let me minus L1. Well, excuse me again?
Like since it's in column 2 or row 2, would it not be L?
Oh, thank you. And she even caught me. It's not L1, it's L2. So again, you're going to this column and this row. Column, row. So we're doing L2. So now if I go 4 minus 3, okay. Try it again. I'm just going to try to type it in. 4 minus L2. And then it populated them all. So let's see if it actually reversed 3 to 1, 2 to 2, 3 to 1, 2 to 2, 3 to 1, 3 to 1, 0 to 4. So it did it right, correct? Sorry, gang. It was one of those tricky things with formatting. Hopefully that made sense to people. I'll try to drop an easier, so for us, I'm going to drop this into, let's see what it looks like. So for those of you that are trying to follow along at home, reverse coding command for Excel. Example. Now you may have different numbers. So if your scale is a 7-point Likert scale, your first number in that code is what? It's not a 4. Yeah, it's probably a 7. If it's coded 6 to 0, it's a 6, right? So you have to pay attention to what and make sure it corresponds exactly to the reverse code. All right, it looks like it's actually going to, yeah, it actually like it's going to work. So let me see what it looks like when I post this to class. All right, so this is what we just did. I'm going to put it right here next to the reverse coding, right above the reverse coding YouTube video. So it's in there. Okay, thanks for stepping through this. Now, Google Share. So is there anything else you all want to do with your Excel sheet?
I just have a question for question 20 that's on there.
Okay,
Yeah.
question 20.
Yeah,
Question 20 looks like this. Please describe how music affected your mood.
yeah. So we were changing those, we were coding them, and in the video you had it as, for like some of the open-ended questions, whether it's a negative impact or a positive impact. And some of them say like NA, like N/A, and some of them are like, it made me tired, and I'm not sure like whether we should say that's a negative impact or a positive impact or both, or.
Yeah, so again, that's your decision as a researcher. So y'all are paying attention. I'm proud of y'all. Thank you. I know this is dry stuff. Thank you for paying attention, because it's up to you as the researchers then to decide what you want to do with that. Because it's like if you had a bunch say that they got tired, you might add like, okay, positive, neutral would probably be NA, negative, and then maybe even like another category like tired. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I did.
How many people indicated tired?
I would say like maybe 2 to 3 people.
Yeah, you only have 54. If you had like 1,000 responses, I'd probably let it go. But that's almost getting up to, I mean, that's getting up to what? Almost 5% of your, 6-7% of your total. So it's worthwhile to make a category for them folks.
And then we had 2 people not respond at all to it. So do we just leave it blank?
Leave it blank. All right, let's move it into, let's see what happens when we move it into SPSS. I'm gonna download a copy of this for myself. And now, for those of you, let's see, so I need to know when to start working SPSS. This is important that everybody votes. Raise your hand if you've closed your data and you're ready to do SPSS stuff. 1, 2, 3. Okay, not quite there. It's okay. It's all right. I do want to take. Okay, Alva, I will be in Alva on Thursday. I will be teaching class from on site. So anybody else in Alva has questions directly for me, I will be there. Let's plan to, because I wanted us to close data like this week, if you can. Let's plan to start using SPSS September 7th, 1 week from today. So that's when people are gonna like open up, or if you can't, you're just waiting. But that's probably when I want people to go ahead and open up their subscription and start working. Okay. So who still needs to close their survey? 1, 2, 3. Okay. How close? So those of you that had your hands up, how close are Woodward? How close are the 2 of you to closing your survey?
I have enough participants as a whole, but not enough participants per group. So I need like 5 more-ish.
Ish.
So I'm not quite sure.
You might, have you done the social media thing?
Yes, and I haven't really I've gotten maybe 3 people from there, and I've asked people in person, and I'm just not really getting any more participants.
I don't have the biggest social media following, but share it to me and I'll share it to my page. Just email me. Same, say, Hunter, how about you?
I have 17 participants, but my survey was only released last week, Wednesday.
Okay. Same thing with you. If you want to go social media, share the link. I had somebody else in Alva. Was that Bailey?
That was me. Hope.
Oh, okay. Where are you with participants?
Cause I was aiming for like 50 to 100. I have 52, so I think I'm not gonna probably get more, so I should probably just close it by now. So I'll probably.
Yeah. I think we're probably good there. So, okay. Well, gang, I'll be in Alva Thursday. And then on next Tuesday, let's try to crank through with some SPSS. Okay, and if you're a little bit behind, just try to really closely follow. All right, that gives us a scope. It's time to hit, like the rubber's meeting the road. We're spinning our tires. We're getting ready to rock and roll. Okay, I moved this over, and so this is what it looks like when you go into SPSS. It takes forever for the program to open because it's massive. Again, if you have a computer with 2 screens, it's almost necessary unless you can, somehow put like your data on one side and then the YouTube person tutorial on the other side. All right, I'm going to import data. That is going to be from Excel. Oh yeah, yours is the music one. Where'd it go? I just downloaded it. Well, that's a big womp womp for me. I just downloaded it, literally just did. Download copy. survey responses. So it was I staring at it and just wasn't getting it? Yeah, I was staring at it. Okay, there we go. I want to remove leading spaces. Otherwise, this should convert everything for you. I'm gonna hit OK, and voila, here we are. Now we're in SPSS. You don't have your males and females coded. That's something we'll want to do quickly. Let's see here. Occupation. We'll want to code these. All right, so whoops. Again, you can do this in this Let me see if I can do something different. So SPSS just doesn't do well with words. So I'm going to just quickly go to compute variable. And so please specify your sex. This would probably be best done in Excel, honestly, because it's gonna take us some time. Let's see if we can get a look at your results. All right, because I do want to get I want to show people like where we're actually going with this. So what I would recommend strongly before you move this into SPSS, and this goes for everybody else, if you code your male female stuff, other 1s, 2s, and 3s, you'll want to keep track again like we did last time when you do this coding. When you, oh my goodness, that was loud, sorry. When you do your coding, you want to keep track of it. So like if I'm going to code males 1, females 2, other 3, and we want to go to like major. Now we have a question about major. So we've got MCP, that's a Master's of Counseling Psychology. Let's make that I don't know, just we'll go in order. It doesn't matter. So it's just so you can keep track of them. Here's education major. That's 2. Here's some psychology majors. We'll call psychology majors 3. Here's a political science. So you're creating names for, and numbers for these names that people are indicating. And then so you have a question about work or student type. And so again, on your Excel spreadsheet, it's asking whether it's full-time equals 1, part-time student equals 2. You could have not a student. That would equal 3. Is that making sense? I know my writing is horrible. I'm just trying to go fast.
Yeah, it is.
Okay. All right, back to the, let's run some stats. Okay, so first off, I always check for this. I want to look at my descriptive stats. So I'm going to explore. So I go to descriptive stats and explore. And so I'm going to look at, if I can make this a little bigger to actually read this. Let's look at specify your sex, and then let's look at, oh, you guys have a stress scale built in here. Not quite yet. So your questions on 8 have to do with stress. Question 9, reverse coded 9, has to do with stress. Question 10, overwhelmed, has to do with stress. So these three questions that all have to do with stress are going to be their own scale. So I'm going to compute something. I'm going to compute a variable. And what we're going to do is we're going to take question 8 and we're going to add it to reverse coded question 9. Why am I using reverse coded question 9? Because if I add the non-reverse coded question, it's going to confuse your scale, and a high score isn't going to mean anything. In this case, a high score is going to, so my target variable I'm going to call stress before, right?
Yeah.
Or no, this is overall stress. Because you do have a question about stress right now, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Correct.
Yeah.
This is overall stress. All right, so if you go all the way to the end, you'll see that I created a new variable. I computed something that's called overall stress. This is the, like, if you, like somebody that has a 12, that person is stressed out. Participant number 9 is feeling it right now. Participant number 10 is feeling some stress. So that, like, those are the folks that, oh my gosh, my participants are feeling pretty bad. Let's get rid of these decimals. That's 0. All right, so now you've got your overall stress rating. You also have some questions about stress currently, correct?
Yes, we do.
All right, so you have 14. Right now, how overwhelmed do you feel? And question 15 is, right now, how stressed do you feel, correct?
Yes.
So you need to add these two together. So I'm making you a new variable. So I'm going to transform, I'm going to compute a variable. So you can see where SPSS, if you know what you're doing, it flies. I like it better than, there are a lot of times I like it better than Excel because I don't have to go to code. It'll do it for me. So this is going to be stress, and I'm going to just now, or stress before. This is stress before. And I need to go ahead and get rid of that. So that's questions what?
14 and 15.
14 and 15. So 14, and I'm going to add that to question number 15. Boom. All right, and this is stress before. And all I got to do is hit OK, and it created a new variable for me. And here's the stress before. So you do want some correlations here. You would like to see, this is called internal validity, internal reliability, which is, it's good for internal validity too. So internal reliability, so you had these people like participant number 9 is indicating like they have a lot of overall stress. You would want their like current stress rating to be kind of high. And that's what you're finding. So the good news here is just upon like a verbal scan, it looks like they've got some valid information. People aren't just putting in a bunch of garbage. Like these people answered their questions honestly. Like here's another one. A score of 11 indicates like an 8 is a really super high score for feeling stressed now. Good news. It looks like you have valid data. Okay. So now let's follow their experiment to the end. I know this is where I like get super geeked out nerdy. I'm like, hey, we finally did something. So let's see if we can get a preliminary look at the one thing I'm not doing yet is I'm not checking for outliers. And that's a faux pas, that's a mistake, but I don't care because I want you to see like where the stats go. We will want to always check for violations of assumptions. Outliers is an assumption that, hey, when we have this, we're going to take out outliers. We will, but I want you to see like where this goes. Okay, so you have one other question at the end, and that has to do like with your current stress level, right?
Would we include question 20 because it's an open-ended question?
Okay, you might. So let me go back to your, so 20. I know you're coding that yourselves, but you might have that people that get tired. Oh, is that a negative? Is that a positive? Maybe I want to fall asleep, right? I mean, they just made me tired. Again, that's a subjective thing. I'd hold off on 20. 21 is their outcome. So this is their dependent variable. So they're in this experiment, their independent variable was the music. their dependent variable, what they're actually measuring is stress. How stressed do you feel? I would say, let's keep it simple. KISS, keep it simple, stupid. Let's keep it simple. Let's only use question 21.
Okay.
Okay. Oh. That's okay. We're okay. We're still okay. All right. What we're going to do is we're going to run a correlation. And a bivariate correlation shows it. It's a Pearson's correlation coefficient. And what a correlation coefficient, it has the option of several numbers. It's basically the percentage of shared values. So we're going to look at how many participants did you have? 52? Okay, we're going to look at 52 or so participants and see how consistent their scores are. Hold on. No, this is going to be different scores. Sorry. This is actually going to be a t-test.
Yes.
All right. So let's run a t-test. So we're looking at analyze. We're going to go down to Bayesian statistics. Actually, we're going to go to compare means and proportions. And this is an independent samples t-test. Actually, I'd say it's a paired samples t-test because you are getting, and that's actually more powerful. It reduces error because you are looking at the stress levels in the same people in before and after. So let's look at a paired samples t-test. All right. And we want scores on stress before. Now it's going to have to be, let's keep it simple. Let's look at stress before and variable 2 is going to be your last one. How stressed do you feel? That's after. We haven't looked at outliers. We haven't looked at anything yet. I'm just trying to get like, are there differences? Let's hit okay. So here are your means. Oh my goodness. Okay. I'm not comparing apples to apples. This is not accurate. Here's my dilemma. And folks, follow me. So on question 21, they have the option of answering 0 through 5, right? Is that the same scale, a 0 through 5 scale, as this one here, stress before? No, because they have 8 through 2. So we're comparing, this is actually 8 through 1 is the range. So we're comparing apples and oranges. We want to make sure this is apples to apples. To do this first, I'm gonna analyze. So my mind was actually tracking right the first time. I'm gonna look at correlation. So correlation is not looking at differences. It's looking at relationships. So I'm going to run a Pearson's correlation coefficient, and I'm going to look to see if there are some relationships between scores. So let's first look at overall stress and stress before. So this is a look at consistency. Oh, and I need to change this too. Oh my goodness. All right, variable view. These are actually scales now. So you created scales. All right. Analyze. Correlation by variable. I'm gonna say it's a one-tailed test because I think overall stress and stress before are related. Okay, now this is a correlation and it's showing the percentage of shared relationship. This is a preliminary analysis of internal consistency, internal validity. So basically what they found as researchers is that 73% of the time, people that answered their overall stress question, those 3 questions about are they overwhelmed, how stressed do they feel like they're on top of things, those relate quite a bit with how they're feeling right now, right before they took this test. Okay, what I need to do is I need to find an apples to apples comparison of this stress before to the stress after. The way that I would get an apples to apples comparison is this. And we can still do it statistically, so don't freak out, but I'm going to show you on a design how you would have designed it better. So question 21 asks, currently how stressed do you feel? 0, not at all, 1, slightly, 2, moderately, 3, quite stressed, 4, extremely stressed, 5, no difference. Oh. Let's see here. This is what's making it.
Yeah.
21, so 21 is, oh boy, we got work. Okay. Whoa. All right, so what I did notice, I will say this goes for everybody. I was proud of everyone, because this is going to impact a lot of you. I was super proud that everybody got to IRB, and most everybody's are there and you're getting through it. I was super impressed, super proud, and it looked like some good writing. What I did experience quite a bit as somebody that's done a lot of these, there are some validity issues on your surveys. And what I mean by that is the way questions are worded, the way things are put together, like in the form. So several of you have been like, well, Randolph, I'm going back. So I've asked changes from several of you. And I didn't look at every single one of them. I didn't take every single survey. And so, I didn't put every bit of my logical mind to it. But in this case, if we're going to have an apples to apples comparison with our true dependent variable, which is a measure of stress and a measure of stress before and a measure of stress after, you ask the exact same question the exact same way with the exact same scale. That's where when I ran that t-test, I was like, in my mind, I was like, whoa, something's not right. And always use your logic. Always, if something smells fishy, try to use your logic to figure out, like, is this real? Okay? And that's okay. And that's why we use stats to figure out if the numbers don't lie, right? Like, our synapses can get skewed sometimes. And if that's you, and again, this group right here, don't feel discouraged because there's a way out. It's just more complex. And here's how you solve this. Hopefully how you solve this. Let's look at how many number 5s we have from our responses. I'm going to go back into SPSS. And that was question 21.
There's 2 responses to that one.
There's only 2 5s. Praise, praise whoever your deity is, right? Or praise if you don't have one, then hallelujah, whatever. So thank goodness there's only 2, because in the end, when we run these, those are going to be missing data points, and that's okay. So I'm trying to salvage something for you here. And then we go to, let's go to, where's that question? How do you feel stressed? So we actually added these 2 together. And I did this just just out of, they appear related. And I might still be tempted to keep this. And here's how you keep what I did. So what I did there was a, you remember I computed a variable and it was called stress before. This stress before variable was actually adding two together. What questions do we add together?
I think those 14 and 15.
14 and 15. So we added together, right now, how overwhelmed do you feel? Currently, how stressed do you feel? I think that's okay. What we would want to do is we would want to convert the average of these numbers. In other words, we convert an average of these numbers so it matches what in essence is going to be a 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 scale here. So we're going to throw out the fives. So again, you're like, wow, Randolph, I'm not taking license. I mean, so you have valid information. You just have to be, as a statistician, you have to be absolutely transparent, like an open book. So John and I kind of got into like a little like, is that ethical? Is this not? As long as you're fully transparent with what you're doing and you explain it, it's usually accepted. Now, if you can like if I start to do something unethical, and you put this in as a limitation too. So the gang, this would go in your, so as you're doing this would be a limitation. So have your running section limitation. The researcher would have been better served to have the exact same question before and after. 21, how stressed do you feel? And question 15, how stressed do you feel? So you're okay. So what I'm going to do right now, so y'all get to the t-test in the next 2 minutes, we're going to look at we're going to throw out the fives and we're going to run a t-test to see if there's a difference. So see if the classical music made a difference, because that was the hypothesis. Classical music is going to make a difference. All right. So we go to, where are the fives? Who indicated 5 on this last question here? And I'm just going to throw them out for now. Okay. And I'll go back. I'm not going to say, in fact, let's save this data now. And that way it's not messed up. Stress and music. Save. Okay. I don't know, it's not saving it, but I'm just gonna have to go because we don't have time. So we're just gonna leave that blank. So so it's gonna be like missing data. So you just delete the number. There's the other one, blank. Okay, here we go. Analyze, means and proportions, paired samples t-test. Now we are going to clear this out, reset. We are going with question 15, currently how stressed do you feel? And question 21, how stressed do you feel after? Let's hit it. What did we find? Okay, gang, you help me. There's 48 people, so we threw several out. There's a correlation here. Paired samples correlations. Here's your actual t-test. Paired samples t-test. T equals 3.368. You have 47 degrees of freedom. Was this a significant finding? Was there a significant difference before and after? If I was reporting this, it would look like this. Ah, sorry. And it would go into results. And you tell me, the researchers, a paired samples t-test. And here's what it would say, T, 47 degrees of freedom equals 3.368 368. And your p-value, p, is less than, which is your probability of making a type 1 error. What would we conclude? Anybody remembers t-test from stats? Here it is, drum roll. Here's what we would say. The researchers conducted paired samples t-test, t 47 degrees of freedom equals 3.368. P-value is less than 0.001. Therefore, the researchers rejected the null hypothesis as participants' self-reported stress decreased significantly based on the introduction of classical music. Congratulations, you found significance. There are limitations, and we will discuss those more at a later date. But you did see, what we can say is that there was a significant reduction in stress based on, here's how you would improve it. You never had a control group. You didn't have people listening to, because you could also explain, because there was no control group, it wasn't a true experiment, it was a quasi-experiment. In a true experiment, you would have had a control group listen to white noise for 2 minutes. And then you'd have a comparison between the people that listen to music and the people that listen to white noise. And then you would look at those differences. There were differences in your paired samples, but okay, again, I know you all got to IRB, but you know, science, you really want to control for those things. Gang, thank you for attention. I will publish this to Jade and y'all. I'll drop this out there for you. And I don't mind sharing my my SPSS files. Otherwise, Alva, I will see you on Thursday. Yeah.